baptisms of fire. I've witnessed your suffering as the battle raged on.
Agent Bon Jovi?
This is Agent Bon Jovi.
Okay, well, look, I know this is going to sound nuts, but I'm down in Austin, and we had a few bodies turn up, minus their hearts.
At least I made it to heaven.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
What memory is this? It ain't, you idiot. Yeah, it is. Because the last I heard, you were in heaven's lockup. Was. Now I'm not. That kid of yours, before he went wherever, made some changes here.
Oh, Jack.
Busted my ass out. And then he set some things right. Tore down all the walls up here. Heaven ain't just reliving your golden oldies anymore.
What it is?
It's what it always should have been.
What is it
Everyone
then?
happy, everyone together. Rufus lives about 5 miles that way.
Oh my goodness.
With Aretha. Thought she'd have better taste. And your mom and dad, they got a place over yonder. It ain't just heaven, deserve.
Wow.
And we've been waiting for you.
Didn't see that coming. Is this the roadhouse?
So Jack did all that. Well, Cass helped.
How?
It's a big new world out there. You'll see. Oh, wow. This tastes like the first drink I ever shared with my dad.
Wow.
Quality stuff? No, it's crap. But it was fantastic. Just like this. It's almost perfect. He'll be along. Time up here, it's different. You got everything you could ever want, or need, or dream. So I guess the question is, what are you gonna do now, Dean?
Baby made it.
I think I'll go for a drive.
With his old
Have fun.
license plate, and Dean is in his pilot clothes, I realize. So Sam is gonna be here too soon. Bobby's right. It is the roadhouse.
Hey, baby.
That's what they meant when they... Oh my goodness. When they say in the cycles that it's the last ride, baby, or something like that. Oh my goodness. So there is a time jump. Who's his wife?
Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could
Oh my
I still
goodness.
was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say,
Are they gonna drive together, Dean and Henry and Sam?
don't you cry no more. Off the stormy sea of moving emotion, tossed about like a ship on the ocean. I said
You can go now.
Oh my goodness. Carry on my way. The Sam's old makeup is really good. It looks authentic. Don't you cry no more. Oh wow, that new rendition is my new favorite. Oh.
Hey, Sammy. Thank you, the fans. Through blood, sweat, laughter, and tears, you've kept us on for 15 years.
There's no way we would have ever been here without you and your support and your love. So thank you. We will remain forever grateful for the opportunity and the honor to play these characters for so long. And we felt you guys here with us all the time. So thank you.
That was Bob's voice. Oh my goodness, my camera stopped recording. I have no idea when it stopped recording. You know, since I don't know just how much of the end of the episode was recorded and not recorded, I'm gonna watch the end again. right away. So is this Sam's last
Agent,
hunt?
you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm on my way.
This is the last shot of the bunker. He's already attached to the bunker. It was their home. And what happened to Miracle after that?
But at least I made it to heaven. Yep.
Yeah.
What memory is this? It ain't, you idiot. Yeah, it is. That kid of yours, before he went wherever,
Oh, Jack.
made some changes here. Busted my ass out.
Oh, my Jack.
And
Now
then,
that's
well,
the
we
official.
set some things right. Tore down all
Yeah,
the walls.
the official saying, the official exclamation.
Heaven
Oh,
ain't
my
just
Jack.
reliving
the
your
new one.
golden oldies anymore. It's what it always should have been. Everyone happy, everyone together. So Jack did all that.
Yeah.
Well, Cass helped.
I don't know how Cass helped. I don't understand that one.
There'll be peace when you are done.
I love this song.
Me too, me too. I can't believe it. So I believe the hunt, I think the werewolf hunt that Donna sent Sam on indirectly to Austin. You know, could tie into Jared being in Austin, starting Walker. I think that was his last hunt, and then he went on to live a normal life. As normal as he can get without, but he has little kid. That feels so right.
Don't you cry, don't you cry no
You know, Sam's son, Dean, he's living a normal life. He doesn't even need the anti-possession tattoo. He just has it as a memory for
You can go
Dean,
now.
his uncle. And this new rendition of Carry On is my new favorite. And Jared's old makeup looks really authentic. It's really well done. His acting as an old man is also on point as a young man.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done.
at the end.
Hey, Sammy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, the fans. Through blood, sweat, laughter, and tears, you've kept us on for 15 years.
There's no way we would have ever been here without you and your support and your love. So thank you. We will remain forever grateful for the opportunity and the honor to play these characters for so long. And we felt you guys here with us all the time. So thank you.
It's Bob and Bobby on both sides. That's a perfect shot.
And cut.
And that's Bob's voice. I'm gonna say this a third time because I don't know if it's actually gonna be included. The first 2 times are gonna be included in the reaction. So yeah, a lot less, you know, a little more coherent. After every episode ends, I keep the promo of the next episode open in a tab, ready to go, so that after every single episode that ends, I can right away watch the promo for the next episode. That's the first thing I do after watching a new episode for Supernatural. And it's only last night that I realized that there isn't gonna be one for this episode. Oh, I had a completely different ending in my mind for the show. And different versions of it, but they always revolved around the same idea, which was so removed from this, and that was in my head the perfect ending, and I'll be attached to it forever. But this is the perfect ending, even though it's so different from what I dreamed. This was the perfect episode. I'm gonna say it just right here, right now. This is the best episode of Supernatural. It surpassed Swan Song, it surpassed Sacrifice, it surpassed Don't Call Me Shirley, it surpassed Mariah, it surpassed everything. This was the perfect episode. There wasn't a single beat missed. I'm sorry. This is just gonna be from here on out for the rest of the video. It's just gonna be the ramblings of a really emotional person right in front of you. So I'm sorry if it's not completely coherent. I knew I was gonna be bawling my eyes out watching this episode. I did not know it was gonna be for so long. For majority of the episode. Like, I didn't stop once. And I'm also gonna say, and people are gonna have different opinions about this, I don't care. I stick to my opinion, which I knew was gonna happen the moment I saw Mariah, the season 14 finale. And I was absolutely right. My instinct was absolutely right that the last season of Supernatural was gonna be its best season. And it is. It totally is. Yeah, season 15 killed it. It surpassed season 5, it surpassed season 11, it surpassed season 13 and 14. It surpassed everything. Oh, it's gonna take me a while to wrap my head around what I just saw and take it all in. It's way too new right now, and I'll try to be a little more, I guess, functional, mentally functional in my discussion video. I'll try my best here. I was hoping to see Jack at the end, but we didn't. We just found out what he did. I still don't understand how Cass helped, by the way. He's in the empty, so... And he went into the empty before Jack became God. So... I don't know how Cass helped. Maybe Cass is out of the empty. Maybe they're just leaving it open for interpretation. But yeah, just hearing that Jack did that to heaven, that just sounds like the perfect heaven. Dean drove through that driving baby from the roadhouse. Amazing to see that again. And you know, because Dean had said to Bobby when he had died and had become a ghost, that you could be drinking cold ones in Roadhouse in heaven right now, and instead you chose to be here. And then Bobby went ahead and let go, and he went to heaven, and we finally saw that. That was season 7. That was more than half the show ago. Wow. And I just watched I watched all of season 8, the second half of season 7, all of season 8, and the first 2 episodes of season 9 within the last week. I just steamrolled through them, and I just watched the episode Trial and Error, which was Sam's first trial to close the gates of hell. And Dean did mention in that episode, right before going for the trial, when they were on the case, that Sam getting old and chugging Viagra and dying old and happy after having lived a normal life is Dean's perfect ending. And he did say that it's the only one he's gonna get, and he wants Sam to get out. He wants Sam to get out of the hunting life. And it did happen. And Sam finally let go of not just the hunting life, but also Dean. He let him go. Right before the finale actually aired, which was 2 nights ago, I just washed or wiped my tears, and here's a fresh batch. I actually put on makeup for this reaction specifically, which not much. I just applied some foundation compact and kajal, eye pencil, really. Even though I knew I was gonna cry and it has all gone to crap. I hope I don't look like a complete maniac. It's not a lot, but it's still more makeup than I've put on in years, because this is just too special of an event to not want to try my best in my limited capacity to be, to put in the effort, everything. And yeah, it's all gone to crap, and it's how it's supposed to be. This is something I expected. Yeah, I've forgotten what I said before I mentioned the makeup. My soup is still left. I got a drink. I've been too busy wiping tears to be able to drink anything or put anything into my mouth. What was I saying? Is it still recording? I hope it's still recording. Hold on, let me remember. What was I saying? I'm blanking right now. I'm all over the place. Which I knew, again, I was gonna be in this state at the end of the episode. And yet I have to somehow try to be coherent and put at least some of my thoughts into words at the end. Dean did say it's the only ending he was gonna get, that Sam gets out and finally lives a normal life that he wanted before but then gave up actually in season 9. I also watched that. In fact, that's the last scene of the last episode I watched in season 9, which is episode 2, Devil May Care, that for the first time in a long time he was feeling good. That he, at that point, he had given up on hope of having a normal life, and for the first time he was feeling good, and he carried that on. Kinda hard not to pun. Yeah. Donna sent him on his last hunt, which means that she is back, by the way. They're all back. I'm pretty sure Adam is too. And if Jack made that level of change in heaven, he probably did on earth as well. And the Apocalypse World hunters would also be back. They wouldn't just be gone. Sam said that he couldn't do it without Dean by his side, and he didn't want to, and it was true. He worked one last hunt with Miracle. I think Miracle went with him on his final hunt, and that's the last time that Sam left the bunker and shut the lights off in the bunker. That really got to me, because the bunker has become my closest to safe halo that I had in my mind for Team Free Will 2.0. They all of them are dead now. He went on his last hunt, left the bunker, probably left the key to Dean, his son. Maybe Dean becomes a man of letters later on, but he lived a normal life, so maybe not. So all of that knowledge, all of the memories of the Winchester family in the bunker are gonna remain in the bunker till the supernatural comes along, several years down, or maybe just a few years down the line in some way, shape or form, in the future, and it's picked back up again. And it's gonna remain closed, just like it did before, you know, ever since Henry died and Abaddon wiped off. Just watched that episode as well. All of the men of letters, American men of letters in 1958, and from then to 2013 when they finally found the bunker, it remained closed. All of its secrets remained closed. All of its memories in it remained closed in the bunker. And now that Sam has left and he lived on a long, happy life, seemingly happy life, or as happy as he can be without Dean, with an unknown wife. We never saw her face. He lived a long life, you know. He got old. He aged well, by the way. And he died, and all of those years the bunker was locked. And whenever it is that Supernatural picks up next, when it comes back, because it's definitely gonna come back, I'm hoping in the form of a movie series, movie franchise, 6-part movie franchise, because this was the 327th episode, and if it's 6 more parts, and if you count those as individual episodes, it will make 327 plus 6 would make it 333 episodes. That's really phenomenal. That's an amazing number. So yeah, whenever it is that Supernatural comes back, I believe would be far in the future, maybe even in a dystopian world where everything has been destroyed, because we never found out what happened to the MT. We never found out what happened to Amar, because Jack took her inside of him. Still can't. That just sounds wrong. But it is right, but it just sounds wrong when you put it that way, because she is his great aunt, their blood, and he is so underage. Yeah. Jack did amazing as God. He gave Sam, well, he didn't give Sam, but he gave Sam the opportunity to live the perfect life, a normal, happy life, until he got to Dean. And he changed heaven to be a truly happy place, and not just matrix of past memories, like Dean had once said. Wonder where Jack is now. I wished we could have seen him at the end, but just knowing that he did all of this, just knowing is enough. I wish that there was just one little peek, if nothing else, just one little peek of them, you know, in heaven. I wasn't actually expecting them to die at the end. I thought that it would be more of a they live on happily ever, or as happily ever after as they can, with all the losses weighing on them after the end, together. I was hoping that, but they ended up in heaven, so I was hoping that Jack was watching them on that bridge, you know, with Dean's shoulder on Sam's hand, happy, looking out onto that beautiful river scenery with mountains in the background from behind or from above or something, just seeing them and being happy. and just being content that he made it possible for Sam and Dean, because that's what he always wanted. In fact, he took on the charge of taking down Chuck exactly for that reason, to give them a happy ending and to get Dean's forgiveness, which he got in the last episode. He got that. It wasn't said verbatim, but it's pretty clear that he did. Wow, this is so removed from all of the mythology of everything that has happened up until the last episode. Even though it did tie up a little bit of mythology with heaven, at least. At the end, and how Jack did everything. So yeah, we never found out what happened to the empty, because Jack exploded over it, you know, all over the place. And there was a theory which seemed very relevant, and that might lead to, well, the empty being the big bad of Supernatural when it comes back. That would be really hard. It would be really hard to beat after that happened, you know, and really pissed at Jack. So maybe the next rendition of Supernatural would be Jack versus the empty. That would be epic on another level. That the theory was that because Jack exploded all over the empty, the shadow, the entity, said in excruciating pain that he made it loud. He made everything loud, and it could never go back to sleep, from what we can tell, at least. And by the way, I do think that Jack died in that scene, because he was in the empty. He did explode, and that explosion was supposed to cause his death. And Billy is the one who brought him back, who is death. And you know, he was in the empty when he had died before that, and Billy was the one who brought him back from the dead before. So I do think that all of that meant that in that moment when Jack was in the empty, when he exploded right before Billy brought him back again, I think he had died. He just reformed in the empty, and then Billy brought him back to life. So yeah, so then he was alive. Oh, by the way, I was wrong. They're not all dead. Jack is still alive because he's God. He is probably still on Earth. Maybe in heaven, maybe watching over 17. Wish we could have seen him watch over 17, but just knowing that he is going to do that as he said when he left in his last scene, that he will be everywhere, which is, you know, also tied into what Adam, the one from Eden, told Jack to identify, you know, from the rocks and which one of them was divine. And he said every one of them are divine because God created them all and God is in everything. And Adam was like, right, except he should have been, that's how it was supposed to be, but that wasn't the case. But Jack, the way he said he'll be in the flowing wind, in every dust that every particle of dust that flows in the wind, every leaf that falls off the tree, every river that flows on the ground, through the stones, everything. He'll be in everything. So he clearly is also very much aware of, because he changed heaven, very much aware of everything that's happening in heaven, and Sam and Dean going to heaven and being together. Yeah, he would know, and he would be watching over them and feeling content that he is the one who created the opportunity for them to be able to do that for them. My camera stops recording at absolutely inopportune times, and it's hard to tell. So I again don't know how much of me speaking was lost. I was basically saying that Jack, because he changed heaven, obviously he is very much aware of what's happening in heaven, and as he said in the end, before he left, that he is gonna be in every particle of existence. He's gonna be present, he's gonna be there, he's gonna be everywhere. Just like he had said to Adam from Eden, that God is in everything, in every single one of those stones, and that's what makes them divine, because they're all God's creations, or that's how it was supposed to be according to Adam, but wasn't. But with Jack, it truly is that way, because he didn't create any of this, but he did become God, and he is present in everything, including heaven, and he is watching over Sam and Dean being together, peaceful and finally happy in heaven, and they are each other's soulmates. Okay, no one can deny this anymore. They just are. It was, put into canon in season 5 when they first, well, not the first time they went to heaven, but first time we saw them in heaven. They were each other's soulmates because they shared a heaven in the previous rendition of heaven. In this rendition of heaven, they are together because Sam found Dean at the end of that ride. Obviously, they're soulmates, even though there are no different heavens that are shared. It's all kind of a compendium of all heavens. Not even a compendium, it's just a superseded happy place where you get everything you need, you get everything you want, and there are no disappointments. It's not like heaven is matrix anymore of your past memories. It's whatever you want it to be and whatever you deserve it to be, and nobody deserves that beautiful heaven more than Sam and Dean. So yeah, we didn't find out what happened to the empty. The empty did explode, and Jack exploded onto the empty, probably waking everyone in the empty up, all of the angels and demons dead, and the empty never went back to sleep, because it did say that Jack made it loud, the explosion made it loud, and it never went to sleep. So whenever it is that supernatural comes back a couple years down the line, the empty might be the big bad, and Jack would be the figure of common good fighting against the empty, the figure of ultimate bad, super pissed off at Jack for doing that to it. That would be epic on another level. So yeah, I'll cover everything that happened in the episode. I'm actually glad that because the camera stopped recording at some point in the end or the second half of the episode, I watched it again just to be able to record my reaction to it again, even though it's not technically the first reaction, but it's the immediately after reaction. I'm glad I was able to watch it again immediately after, and just that second half, just that part from from the point where Sam went on his last hunt to the end, and at the end, after we saw the ending of Sam and Dean's story, the camera went blank, and it all came back to life for one last time to show Jared and Jensen thanking the fans for everything, and then the camera, flew out, and the entire crew was there with Bobby and Bob Singer on either side of them. That was perfect. That was a perfect addition to it, and I'm glad that it's in the episode. It's not an interview, it's not something that they're saying in a convention. It is included in the episode right there and then, because Jared and Jensen are what made Supernatural. So seeing their end right after seeing Sam and Dean's end, it's just too perfect. That was the perfect ending. There wasn't a single, there are things I would have liked to see, but that's not like a criticism. There's not a single legit criticism I can have for this episode. It was perfect. It was perfectly done, and the best of the show. This episode, I wanna wrap up, because like I said, I would ramble, and I have been rambling for quite some time now. And my soup is still left, and it's kind of cold, or less warm. It's still kind of warm. It's lukewarm right now. I have to finish it. Yeah, I am in complete shambles right now. I feel completely shattered and yet completely satisfied at the same time, which is in another world, in another situation. I would call that an oxymoron. It's just such a dichotomy, but it is something that I'm feeling right now. Heartbroken that it's ended, heartbroken how it's ended, and yet so fulfilled how it ended. It made me so happy. Even though I cried for majority of the episode, it is the happiest episode of Supernatural, the most uplifting one, even more than the last one. The last one was really uplifting, but this is lighthearted on another level. I'm glad we got to see them go on their last hunt, and I'm glad that it was vampires, and one of them, the one they shot in the head, that certainly looked like Paul Wesley. So yeah, I'm glad the last hunt they ever went on was vampires, because the vampires of Supernatural are so unique, and my favorite rendition of vampires, actually, my favorite take on vampires, they just seem so much more realistic than the ones who sparkle, the ones who grace or disgrace, however you want to see it, the covers of teen novels and teen movies and teen TV shows. They're just so much more realistic, and at least they feel realistic and gritty and truly a danger. And I'm glad that that's how it ended. And I have to watch it again and break my heart again. But I'll have to see if they killed all of the vamps. There were 4 vamps in that shed. I think they killed them all, and yeah, obviously they killed them all, because they got to have that extended scene just by themselves. So yeah, they did wipe them all, and Dean died as a result, asking Sam to carry on. That was so perfect. That was the perfect analogy for carrying on. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll touch on a lot of things in the discussion video for this, which definitely is gonna be long. It's definitely gonna be long. I'll just wrap it up by saying that I am so proud of everyone involved in Supernatural, everything they've ever done, and of Sam and Dean, and of Jared and Jensen especially, and of Jack. I don't know how Cass helped, but he helped somehow, even though he let me down in his at his end of the end of his story. But that's the only disappointing factor, in my opinion, that I've had for Supernatural. So in 15 years, my battery, my camera's battery went out, so I had to pause a little bit and charge it for 10 minutes just to wrap this up. So I'm gonna make this quick. I was saying that, and I finished my soup in the meantime and wiped off my tears as much as I could. Just to end this a little coherently and a little more put together, even though we know that I'm not put together. I was saying that Cass did disappoint me in episode 18 with that revelation, but now that it's happened, now it's canon, and it's been a little while, we were kind of left in the Schrodinger phase of never finding out if Dean ever returned Cass's feelings romantically, or he ever thought of him or that he thought of him as his brother. It was completely platonic from his side. But Jensen did say in the retrospective episode that Cass is the third brother, and obviously Dean has said twice in Supernatural that Cass is his brother, that he thinks of him as his brother. So I think it's pretty much technically we are still in the Schrodinger phase, but it is made pretty clear that Dean didn't return Cass's feelings that way, but Cass meant a lot to him nonetheless, because he thought of him as his brother, and he really valued that brotherhood. I felt cheated by being led on to believe there was a brotherhood and being invested in the brotherhood, and then having the rug pulled off from underneath my feet. But Jensen can obviously later on just off screen, behind the scenes, somewhere in a convention or something, in an interview, can just confirm that Dean didn't in fact return Cass's feelings that way. So because it became canon, truly became canon, because it was written in an ambiguous way in the episode itself, but it truly became canon with Misha confirming it behind the scenes. So the same way could go for Jensen confirming behind the scenes that Dean didn't feel the same way about Cass as Cass did about him. Not romantic. So I guess we'll find out whatever it is for sure. But I think right now I'm saying that it's pretty, even though it's ambiguous, but it is pretty clear that, to me it seems to be pretty clear that Dean never really felt that way. So for now I'm calling the Schrodinger phase done. We'll know for sure if it's done when Jensen confirms it, when he weighs into it at some point, but as of now I'm saying that we're done, and that's all it is, and that's exactly what I wanted, for Dean to think of him as a brother. And yeah, even though that disappointment happened, what I was saying was that in 15 years, in my opinion, that was the only disappointment from Supernatural that I got, the only one. Others have disagreed, and others are entitled to their opinions, but so am I. And I think that Supernatural has never let me down except for that one time. And 15 seasons, and that was the one time that I was let down, the only disappointment I have, that's a pretty big win nonetheless. And I will even though that's really not what I wanted and it made me feel miserable. I will accept that. I have already accepted that. Denial is not my style. Acceptance is the first thing I do when something bad happens. And I'm not miserable anymore. Last episode lifted that weight off of my shoulders, and then this episode truly just completely set me free, as it set Sam and Dean free. As it should, because no one has been more important in Dean's life than Sam. Sam is his true love, just in a platonic way. He is a soulmate in a platonic way. It doesn't always have to be romantic. He's the one who means to him the most. No one ever comes above Sam for Dean, and he said, "I love you" to Sam in that moment. And yeah, that is all the confirmation I need. So I need a little bit more from Jensen, but for now I am really good with what I have. So I've already accepted that what happened there, and then it'll take time, but I will absorb it and find a way to deal with it. I will find a way to be okay with Cass's confession and his truth, even though it messes up a lot of things, but I'll find a way to deal with all of that, because I am completely set free with this finale. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone involved in Supernatural, but especially Jared and Jensen for giving us Sam and Dean. And they're gonna remain in here forever. And we're gonna have Jared in Walker and Jensen in The Boys. Walker I'm gonna watch from the first episode itself, and The Boys I'm gonna catch up before season 3 hits, and that's gonna be my next fix. Yeah, both of those shows are gonna be my next fix. And yes, obviously there's Harry Potter for me with Fantastic Beasts. It's gonna happen in okay, nice segue. It's the next Fantastic Beasts movie as of now is gonna come out in summer of 2022, which is perfect because I think I'll take a long time to get over Supernatural, and I never will, honestly. Just like Jared said in an interview before, that when you love something you have to let it go and focus on the amazing fulfillment that all of the rest of Supernatural, honestly, but especially the last 2 episodes, especially this episode, the best one in the series. No one can convince me otherwise. Even though there have been a lot of amazing ones. I didn't even mention like Galaxy Brain and The Bad Place. Those are 2 personal favorites of mine because I'm a huge Jack and Kaya shipper. They're my OTP. So, and then obviously there's Baby, there's French Mistake, there's the pilot, there's Scooby Natural, there's the Lebanon, the 300th episode, Byzantium. There's so many. There's just so many phenomenal ones, but this one surpasses them all. I just want to thank everyone involved in Supernatural, but especially Jared and Jensen for giving us this gift that I'll hold in here forever. And since Fantastic Beasts is gonna next drop in summer of 2022, it's gonna take me a long time to deal with and to not move on from, not get over, but just take in everything and just be, completely, I don't know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but carry on with my life, I guess. But I have decided that the segue is that next year this is something that I was being cryptic about in my earlier reactions and discussions because I wanted to reveal it in my finale reaction at the end, that I am going to 2 supernatural conventions next year. Vancouver and Denver, both in October. Vancouver, they're consecutive ones, only 2 weeks apart. Vancouver will be Jen's first con ever. I'm so glad that's happening, and I honestly picked Vancouver for that reason, but also because it's much later on in the year, which is supposed to happen this year, but it's gonna happen next year. And then Denver is the very next one after that, so that's kind of perfect. So I'm going to 2 of those cons if everything goes well with the pandemic being resolved before that. Vaccines coming. It's supposed to come. Vaccines are supposed to arrive in summer to spring of next year in 2021, so should be before October. Hopefully that will be the case. And also with everything else that's going on in the world, with the Biden-Trump, I don't even know what to call it, mega disaster. If fascism coming to full rise and dominating over the world is avoided, fingers crossed, because as we saw in Supernatural, God can be taken down if he becomes too fascistic. Why not a US president? No matter how crazy and power hungry he is, he can be taken down. So we have to carry on and keep hoping, always keep fighting, like Dean said to Sam in his last moment. I was so happy that they worked that into that one slogan into the final episode, into the show. Man, I ramble a lot. My battery went out again because I'd only charged it a little bit, so I had to charge it again a little bit and then continue. Okay, wrapping up real quick, I was comparing the Biden-Trump fascistic fiasco with Chuck's fiasco, and I was like, if one fascist like that, God-level fascist, can be taken down, so can Trump. Okay, he's just another president and not much of one, as we all know. So it's gonna be a real rough ride from here on out, especially up until and maybe even a little bit after January 20th. But I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and keep hoping that it's all gonna be okay and it's worth fighting. And hence we have to always keep fighting. I was so happy that that was worked into the episode with Dean saying that to Sam, because the Always Keep Fighting campaign has helped me so much, coming from Jared. Dean saying that to Sam, it's so perfect. It's the most perfect thing. It's the most perfect episode I've ever watched. And the Always Keep Fighting campaign has helped me personally so much. I have a long way to go, especially to prepare myself mentally, physically, emotionally, routine-wise, financially, everything, to be able to go to my first cons next year in Vancouver and Denver in October. My long grief process is gonna end with the end of, I guess, the three-year anniversary of the end of Supernatural being announced in March 23rd March 2019 to March 23rd March 2022. after having gone through my first cons and the whole experience, and slowly walking my way out of it and making my life better, and I'm like just going for a full transition, and I have a long way to go, but I also have come so far specifically because of Supernatural. And especially in the last couple of months, ever since it was decided that it is gonna come back, they are gonna go back to shoot in August and September, and it is gonna come back on October 8th and end on November 19th. This was the whole thing was announced. Since then, I really picked myself up and started doing my best to accomplish things that I didn't think I could, honestly. So what I've been able to pull off here, even this, all of this with the reactions and the discussions and everything, it's normal for other people. It's a mountain to climb for me, and I have been able to climb that mountain. I've come so far. I pulled it off. It might not have been perfect. All my efforts were not always perfect. I might not have hit the mark every single time, or the deadline, or whatever it was, but I always made it every single time. With every single episode, I always made it, with the edits, with the reactions, with the discussions. Always made it, and that's all Supernatural. It's all Supernatural. They changed this entire. They began the changing process of my life through Supernatural. So my life is gonna really begin, and I'm now set free completely with the end of Supernatural. Which is something that I anticipated. Hell, I built an entire house since the end of Supernatural was announced, and I built it. I'm the one who designed it. I'm the one who oversaw the entire thing. I'll move into it, hopefully sometime in the next year. Before going to the cons. That's also something huge I have to accomplish, but I know I can, because they taught me to always keep fighting, and they taught me to carry on. I owe it to them to carry on. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself for what I've pulled off here. And just quickly touching on what's going to happen to the channel after this, I have a lot of ideas, because I've been planning this channel for years and years at this point. And the reason I wanted to start my YouTube channel was Supernatural, to be able to talk about Supernatural. So there's still a couple of things left for me to do, tied into the end of the show, which is do the reaction for the retrospective episode, do the editing for that and get that out, and then the editing for this reaction for the finale to get that out. This one is probably gonna require particular work for it, and then do the discussion video afterward, and then I'm also gonna do a final 7-season joint discussion. And I want to talk about everything that the final 7 episodes represented, overall final 7 episodes. I want to do that, and how I felt about it, and talk about everything. That one is also going to be long. Obviously, I'm going to be covering 7 episodes. Give me a break. And that's going to happen. And I actually plan on doing my take of every single episode from the beginning to end. Now that we know what the entire story is, we've seen it all. Obviously, that's gonna happen, months down the line, after I've moved out, after I've acquired the DVDs, which will only happen after the DVDs come out. I feel good about that. So yeah, from beginning to end, with every single episode, I give my take on it and talk about it at length. which is obviously going to take a long time to cover. Not the binge that I'm going through right now, which at this point I've come up to episode 2 of season 9, which is exactly where I stopped binging the first time I watched Supernatural and watched the rest in real time, more or less. So it's so perfect that right before Supernatural ended, I finished up until that point in my binge, and from here on out I'm gonna watch the rest of what I've watched in real time in 7 years after the end. So I think that was not how I'd planned it. I wanted to binge the entire thing before Supernatural ended, but I'm so glad it all worked out this way. You know, it hasn't been perfect, but it is so good. I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. The imperfections are what make this entire experience so beautiful. So all of that is gonna happen. So and that my take thing on the entire series is not gonna start until months from now. And it is a huge undertaking. Obviously, I'm gonna watch Walker and the boys myself, and maybe for Walker, reactions are kind of, you know, really heavy duty to undertake, and since I am already booked to see over this huge project of my takes with the entire Supernatural show, it will be too much of a workload for me to do reactions for Walker as well. But I would like to do small discussion videos for Walker from the beginning as well, coming January 21st, right after the swearing in of Joe Biden as the next president. How perfect is that? So, and Jen is gonna be in it, Mitch is gonna be in it, and it seems like it's really gonna be amazing. And how, you know, Sam went on his last hunt in Austin, and Jared is gonna start his new show in Austin with Walker in Austin, even in the show, in Walker the show. I love that. That's how it all paralleled. That's how it all tied into the, you know, from one story to another, from Winchester to Walker, carrying on. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna binge the first 2 seasons of The Boys, and maybe do a joint discussion for the 2 seasons, and then when season 3 hits, I might do the same with the, you know, the small discussions for every episode of The Boys after season 3 hits and Jensen joins the show in the future when it does come about. So I might do that. These are all the projects in my future, but they are a little bit farther in the future. For now, real quick, battery's not gonna last long. Yeah, so up until all of these other projects are gonna come about, I'm gonna focus on doing edits, musical edits of Supernatural. Obviously, throughout, you know, I'm gonna branch out my channel into other non-Supernatural content as well. I have a lot to put out in the world, but it is gonna remain focused on Supernatural because Supernatural is what I started this channel for. So yeah, I have a lot of ideas knocking around in my head that I've had for years, and I probably am gonna have more and more and more as I watch the rest of the show in my binge, and knowing the ending, it's gonna just all happen organically. So I in fact have a couple of specific edits lined up. Might have something to do with this amazing quote I painted onto my t-shirt. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm glad I talked so much. I'm sorry that I talked so much at the end, but I'm glad I talked so much because I still haven't come down from the high of the episode. That's gonna take weeks in the least. But it did help me calm down a little and be a little more coherent than I was before, and not sobbing my eyes out. So I'm just gonna wash my face first of all and eat, because I haven't eaten anything since last night when I was watching the retrospective episode. Sam and Dean's, especially Dean's greasy diet, glorious greasy diet of burgers and french fries, and that's perfect because I only ate one and the other burger is left and half french fries are also left. So it's amazing that right after Supernatural ended, and I'm gonna watch it again, I'm gonna be honoring it further by finishing that meal, which is just perfect for Supernatural. And it's still recording, right? And I'm then gonna check a little bit on YouTube and Twitter and some other places, because I haven't been on the internet since morning of yesterday to avoid spoilers, which was totally a right call. There's so much in this episode that I did not see coming at all. So I'm gonna talk to people, especially check what Jared, Jensen, Misha, Alex, Jen, Danielle, everyone is saying about the end of the show, and watch a lot of reaction videos. And then I'm just gonna drown myself in fact into fan fictions because I have so many ideas at the end how it could come back and how it could have been, and so many possibilities with so many different characters. That's just I want to see what everyone else is thinking as well, and fan fiction is the best way to consume that. So I'm gonna end this right here right now and just wallow myself into the pain of losing and yet the triumph of accomplishing what we've accomplished. Even for myself, on a personal level, for a girl with a broken brain and a broken body, I really pulled it together and saw this thing through. And they saw this thing through in a pandemic, in the middle of a pandemic, and so much political drama that it looks like it's gonna break the world, but they didn't let it. They did, in fact, with the election and the end of Supernatural, they did so much to get people to vote. It's just, they can move mountains. They can move entire fucking galaxies with this show. And the show may have ended, but its legacy is not gonna end. The Winchester legacy is not gonna end. Supernatural is never really gonna end, because even though Chuck has said both things, every good thing must come to an end, and it did, he also has said that nothing ever really ends, does it? He's absolutely right. Hate agreeing with Chuck on anything, but he's right there. So, as Al-Kel says, the end has no end. So, I'm gonna always keep fighting and suggest you all do the same in this crap hole of a world, because there's still hope left. As long as there are Winchesters and what they have taught us, the SPN family, we'll always keep fighting, we'll always keep going and keep grinding. So until then, that's the one thing that I'm gonna do, because it's the biggest takeaway I've had from Supernatural, and so perfect that it ended up being the title and the theme of the final episode and the final season overall, the best ones, both of those, season and final episode in the show. And ever, I'm gonna do the one thing that Supernatural has taught me over everything else, among all the other things that it's taught me. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna carry on.